All right, let's just dive right into a seriously fascinating aspect of human behavior. The actual mechanics of how we cope. We so often think of our minds as these mysterious, totally unpredictable places. But in this explainer, we're going to strip away all that noise. We are building a clear, logical map of your own psychological dynamics, and we're drawing this directly from research on resilience.
So, how resilient are you? Seriously, take a quick second and actually reflect on that. It's one of those buzzwords we hear literally all the time, right? But we rarely stop to define it for ourselves in a practical, everyday kind of way. I mean, a lot of us just imagine resilience as some sort of static trait, kind of like eye color or height, like you either have it or you don't. But what if it's not a trait at all? What if it's actually an active, moving system?
To really answer that, we have to look at what we call the mechanics of coping. Mechanics of coping. Just let that phrase sink in for a moment. By definition, it's the behavioral interaction between an individual's stress levels and their available coping skills. I absolutely love this definition because, well, it establishes such a beautifully analytical tone. It means you aren't just a passive observer of your life. You are a complex mechanism. And these mechanics dictate exactly how the external inputs, your everyday stress levels, interact with your internal toolkit, your coping skills.
Let's actually isolate two specific variables from this interaction and look at them like two puzzle pieces. On one side, we have an environment with low stress, okay? And on the other side, an internal toolkit with low coping skills. Now, I want you to imagine these two conditions existing at the exact same time. What happens when an environment that demands very little of you meets an internal system that has very few tools? Think about those mechanics we just defined. How do these two specific pieces interact? So what does it actually look like in practice?
Well, the equation completes itself like this. Low stress plus low coping skills results in a state of little engagement. When the pressure from the outside world is off, but your internal coping skills are also low, the result isn't deep peace. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a mental limbo. You just coast. I want you to really reflect on your own moments of disengagement for a second. Have you ever gone through a period where everything was technically fine? Maybe you had a super quiet week at work or a long weekend with zero real obligations, but instead of feeling vibrant and alive, you just felt completely checked out. Maybe you spent the whole day doom-scrolling on your phone or literally just staring at the wall. You weren't utilizing any mental muscles because the environment wasn't forcing you to, and your internal skills just weren't developed enough to drive engagement on their own. You were essentially sitting in a mental hammock, but not in a restful way at all.
So knowing this equation, knowing that low stress combined with low skills equals disengagement, how resilient are you really? Because resilience isn't just about surviving the massive, crazy storms of life. It's about the mechanics of how you function when the waters are completely calm. If a low-stress environment leads you into a state of little engagement, are you actually prepared for when the stress inevitably returns? Or are your coping muscles quietly atrophying while you sit in neutral gear? It's a pretty provocative thought to leave you with as you examine your own psychological dynamics. Keep exploring the mechanics of your own mind, and we will catch you next time.